It is More Good News Wednesday. That's right, no more hump day. It's always more good news on Wednesday. We're just looking for more good news and giving more good news because it's Wednesday, and that's what we do on Wednesday. It's More Good News Wednesday. I'm here, answer the questions, to be of service. If you would like to reach me for my 5 daily practices or my book, all you got to do is reach out, david@dmeltzer.com. We'll pin it up there. Welcome, Jacob. Welcome, everybody. We are looking forward to an unbelievable day. Welcome, Jonathan Busby. Good to see you, Colleen. Where is Team David Meltzer? Good morning, Monica. Jake, you look and sound great yourself there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Listings Labs here today and the property Ragstigar. There he is. Always on time. Very good. All right, let's get to it. Christina, I see you there, by the way. Welcome. All right, we got the questions rolling in. What do you do when you have an idea you feel is too big for you to execute on your own? Well, let me give you the piece of advice that I've asked myself since I've been 13, 23, 33, 43, and today at 53. Ask for help. You cannot ask big enough. You cannot ask enough, and you not ask for help enough. So go out and find out who can help you. Find someone that can give you directions to where they already are and ask them for help, or ask them if they know somebody that can help you. People of like minds surround themselves with people with like minds in the same aptitude and attitude. And you can gather and accelerate that aptitude and the attitude by simply asking for help. Part of the 5 daily practices of knowing your what, knowing your who, then you know your how, your now, and of course your why. Know your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. 5 daily practices. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. You can get my book, ebook, audiobook, and I'll sign it, send it, and ship it to you. Pay for shipping. Don't worry. My print book. All right? You can't lose. david@dmeltzer.com. Let's get some more questions rolling here. Good questions to start the day. God, they're rolling fast. Here we go. More Good News Wednesday. All right. What's the best news you've heard recently? Oh, I am working on July 12th filming Office Hours, the first entrepreneurial late night show, kind of like a Letterman show for entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs, talking business help for everyone from the greatest names and that frequency, the spirit of excellence. And every day I just get more good news about Office Hours. More good news, especially on Wednesdays. Why? Because it's More Good News Wednesday. It's all for junior achievement. We have our junior achievement recognition as well. And I think I found a partner for us from 2 Minute Drill and for Office Hours. So excited about that. Hey, David, any tips or advice to keep your energy high when you come back from a lack mentally energy family? First of all, you got to, be consistent and persistent in your motivation and inspiration. In other words, we need to vacation every day. We need to utilize the great chain of feeding to figure out who's feeding us and feed them more. Find out who's not feeding us and allow them to fall away in varying degrees, determinative upon how little they do feed you, if at all. And then we find the people who aren't bleeding us, that either have negative intentions or can't help themselves with an unconscious competency that's destructive, judgmental, conditional place upon your life that is bleeding you. Fire it. Get away from it. Take it out. Extract it. It's so easy today to allow things to fall away and to separate ourselves from the negativity, from the bad ideas and the bad people that either subconsciously, unconsciously, intentionally or unintentionally are lying to you, interfering with what you want, bleeding you. Got to let them fall away or fire them from your life, regardless of their intention. There's too many good people out there that can feed you. Feed them. David, how long should it take for a business to make a profit? And if it doesn't, at what point would you close it? All right. Determinative upon your timing and your risk tolerance is the determinative factor of when you will give up or pivot from a business. I don't think that businesses ever die. I think the names of the business and the entities can close, but all the lessons and the values just are put into whatever your next venture is. So, set forth your timing and risk tolerance, put accordingly, predetermine the percentages of the investment of your time, emotions, and value and money into that venture. And if it's not hitting your perspective, you can go ahead and make your decision based on your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. You're welcome to change your mind, right? I reassess my timing and risk tolerance quarterly at most. So I'm not afraid of being a hypocrite. I'm not afraid of changing my mind from the data that I've learned, because I know one thing, that I don't know what I don't know. And I'm constantly seeking the love and the lessons by knowing my what, knowing my who, knowing my how, knowing my now, and knowing my why. Those 5 daily practices I'll be happy to send to you. No problems at all. We're looking here. You got Amy McDowell, Ryan, good to see you guys. Let's keep these questions coming. Here we go. It's more Good News Wednesday. What's the myth of Sisyphus and how does it apply to life? Most people live like described in Camus' The Stranger, C-A-M-U-S, Camus' The Stranger. There's the myth of Sisyphus mentioned, where somebody pushes a boulder to the top of the hill all day long just to have it roll back down to the bottom for the next day. Every day we feel stuck on a habit trail, on a gerbil wheel. Instead of enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential, having an unwinding routine that starts tonight for me at 9 p.m. My day, my tomorrow starts today at 9 p.m. by unwinding, by putting my body into a place of recovery, a position of recovery, so that I physically have more energy the next day, but also my body, my mind, and my soul connecting in less interference to and from the greatest source of light, love, and lessons, the greatest source of power, so that I am plateauing and growing. I'm not starting each day at the bottom of the hill just to push the same boulder to the same mountain, to the same place. I'm actually plateauing and growing and utilizing that as a baseline. In fact, I use my meditation to transcend the download that I receive from my unwinding routine, from the position I place my mind, body, and soul for the entire 6 to 8 hours of that unconscious and subconscious connectivity. I transcend that with 20 minutes of meditation. So I used to use meditation to find that baseline. I now utilize it to transcend the higher vibrational frequency, the download that I receive while I put myself in that position into what is this pragmatic world by blending the currency of money, right? The object of energy that I put into the flow to get what I want, knowing that money allows me to shop. And if I shop for the right things at the right frequency, I'll be so happy. If I shop for things I don't need to impress people I don't like, I'll be very unhappy. I'll create more resistance in my life, shortages, voids, and obstacles. But moreover, finding that baseline in order to plateau and grow so that I know and can acknowledge the triggers that take me off of that baseline, that put me into an ego-based consciousness, knowing that when I'm in ego-based consciousness, the primal fears take over to fight, flee, fight, or even the F word that Gary Vee says. And that means that the blood is leaving my brains. All the blood leaves my brains when I'm in the primal fear state. And that means it goes to my body so I can fight, feed, flight, or the other F word that Gary Vee likes to say. And if my blood is not in my brain, it makes it very difficult to utilize the higher level of thinking that I have, my higher self, the God's given gift of that unbelievable frequency of my highest self, my higher being, my higher level of thinking. All of this is indicated by utilizing these 5 daily practices. More than happy to send them to you. David@dmeltzer.com. Know your what, know your who, know your how, know your now, and know your why. Also, you can get my book for free, ebook, audiobook. I'll sign a book. I'll ship it to you. I'll pay for the book and shipping. So, no free book with $9.99 shipping. I'll pay for everything. Not a problem. You can email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Awesome. If you have any questions and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, ask the questions, right? It's not what I say, it's what you hear. And if you're not asking questions, we're not going to be able to align and effectively communicate. So we should be able to do that together. If you want to personally ask me questions, you could text me 949-298-2905 or email me directly, david@dmeltzer.com. I want to make sure that we are in alignment, that I'm here to be of service and of value to you and through you. So thank you for your comments. I know that I'm speaking quickly and not all of this would go. How to motivate us in the morning. Know the difference between motivation and inspiration. Motivation will get you up. Inspiration will get you there, right? Fear can motivate you. Motivation is a short-term fuse of energy that can allow us to transcend itself into inspiration in spirit. I use my motivation to get up, get back up, get started, get back started, to clear the interference between me and what I already am, which is health, wealth, happiness, and worthiness. And so I utilize that paradigm shift to not go get my health, go get my wealth, but instead simply clear the interference between my health, my happy. All right, here we go. What in the Course in Miracles lessons has evolved most for you over the years? I give meaning to everything I see. The power of understanding that we cannot see outside of us what we can find inside of us. And so you can directly give meaning to everything that you see. And when you know you hold that power through gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and of course, inspiration, then we can utilize that in an effective manner to expand, grow, accelerate, to be of service and of value to others, to allow everything to come through us to serve others and to help others. And you can do that. So, excellent question. But that is a huge one, that we have that control and give meaning to everything we see. What is the best speech you've ever given? The best speech I ever gave was probably at Michigan. My cousins were there, University of Michigan's business school. And it was a beautiful 70-degree day in the middle of the late fall, the best day in months, they told me, of weather, which is a common theme when I travel. I bring good weather with me. So if anybody's interested, this is David at dmeltzer.com. Ebook, audiobook, I'll sign it, ship it, pay for it, don't worry. But the very last person at the Michigan speech told me that they were contemplating suicide and they were walking the campus crying, and they saw a flyer that I was speaking, didn't know who I was, but they were called to come to, couldn't understand why, this speech. And then the person waited over an hour to speak with me and told me that I had changed his trajectory, that he had changed his mind, that he was going to use gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability to live his life inspired by simply what I talked about and what I taught in the book that I want to give you, in the 5 daily practices. And that, to me, was the most powerful speech, and motivated me as well as inspired me to continue on to where I am today. And I know Johnny Wells is thinking there, I wish it was Ohio State. I wish it was too. But it was Michigan. I think the guy was hyper depressed because of how poorly their football team does. But that probably just was a contributive factor to the anxiety and depression that he had. But it probably didn't help how terrible Michigan's football program is. So it's easy to be depressed if you are a Michigan football fan. But hang in there. I've been there myself. What do you think about cryptocurrencies? Just know your timing and your risk tolerance. That you utilize and understand timing, risk tolerance, market makers, and buy and sell side. All right. I am looking for Jess Lenouvelle, the CEO of the Listings Lab. Let's see here. Where is my friend? And shoot. Do not see Jess. Do you see Jess in here? Are we confirmed? Jakey Bakey. Email me, David at dmeltzer.com, if you know Jess and where Jess is gone. All right, we'll take another question. How to get motivated subconsciously. Have an unwinding routine. Meditate. Those are the two ways. Have an unwinding routine and meditate. Two ways to get motivated and inspired. So, solution billion. So, all right. Sorry. How do you know when you're entering the learning zone? So there's three zones. There's the comfort zone. And so if you imagine three concentric circles, Jess is here. I do not see Jess. So where is Jess? I do not see Jess. Sorry. Jess Le Nouvelle. Can you say I'm here? I do not see it. Sorry, guys. Oh, there he is. All right. All right. Then you have the learning zone and then anxiety zone. You want to constantly expand the learning zone so you get in the anxiety zone. Here she is. Hi,
Hello.
Jess. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Fantastic. I love to hear it. It's More Good News Wednesday. So that's more good news for me when other people are fantastic. So you can share that as well. Meanwhile, you have been sharing your online course to help people attain 6 and 7 figure incomes in real estate. You have the Listings Lab, listingslab.com, thelistingslab.com. How did you come up with your system of understanding, how and what interferes with the opportunities that exist for real estate agents?
Definitely trial and error. I made a lot of mistakes.
Paid for the dummy tax?
Yeah, definitely.
How many
Definitely.
years of dummy tax did you pay in order to get to a point where you could teach other people, especially through an online course, on how to get 6 and 7 figures from their real estate
About
agencies?
14 years.
14 years of that's about normal overnight success.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what did you utilize to stay inspired as you were making those mistakes, as you were losing listings and losing business and not maximizing the opportunities and getting frustrated and anxious and worried that maybe you weren't as good as you thought you could be? What other interferences that people have? What did you use to stay inspired?
I definitely wouldn't say it was one thing. I think the inspiration kind of shifted. In the beginning, I think it was just pure determination and stubbornness. And then over time, like, when I met my husband, I know that, cliche and mushy, but like when I met my husband, it was definitely him. I wanted to, I don't know. I felt like even more than me, I felt like he deserved to have something special.
That's so interesting. And most people don't realize that real estate agents are some of the best marketers in the world. One of my friends,
Have
Ryan
to be.
Serhant, is not only a great salesperson, but he's an extraordinary marketer. And understanding the nuance and the reconciliation between sales and marketing is so important. Where did you, define that line? Because I think, you're an incredible marketer yourself. And would you consider yourself a better marketer or salesperson, or how did that reconcile within the context of your career?
I definitely think that in the beginning, I had to be a better salesperson because I wasn't a good marketer. And then when it shifted and I became a better marketer, I didn't have to be as great a salesperson because the marketing was doing a lot of the selling for me. And so I really think that there's a lot of people who get into the real estate space, get into the real estate industry just purely because they want to help people. And then when they're forced to become really good salespeople, something feels out of alignment.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, there's two ways to increase your sales. It's either be more statistically successful with the number of people that you have, or increase the number of people that you have and remain as statistically successful as you are today. And that's why I subscribe to teaching people how to get people to call you back,
Yeah.
because that increases the number of
Yeah.
people that you can actually be statistically successful with. But there is, an energy or philosophy in marketing that differs from sales. What is your number one lesson that you learned on the sales side about real estate that was necessary to realign or re-engineer from when you first started to today? What was the number one lesson that you see in sales that you've learned?
I definitely think it was that we all need to learn better human psychology. Because I think that, the more that we understand decision making, the more that we understand how people make decisions and the emotions that come up during different decisions, I think that I think that really any really good marketing can be used for good or bad, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Once you have those tools and you have that knowledge, you can use it for good and you can use it for evil, because you have the ability to change people's behaviors based on the emotions that you're having them feel and the ways that you're drawing them through a funnel or an emotional experience or whatever that is. And so I think that the thing that made it a really big difference for me and that we teach now is how to take someone from a stranger, not only build the know, like, and trust, but also get them to take action. And everything that we teach is inbound, which I think is very different from most real estate marketing practices. But I think once you nail and again, like, marketing 101, but real estate agents don't niche down the same way that other businesses do. So, once you really nail the marketing messaging, you nail the psychology, it just becomes about, can you be consistent? Can you stay top of mind? Can you make sure that you're continuing to provide a high level of service so that everything continues to work in the cycle that it needs to?
Yeah, I think you made some great points there. Well, number one is credibility. Uh,
Mm.
Too many people ignore credibility. The interesting thing statistically about credibility is if you can be 100% credible, you'll never lose a sale, right? You can tell anybody anything and they'll believe you. Unfortunately, of course, nobody's 100% credible, but that's the goal or the objective or the pursuit that you should have. The second one is, to people buy on emotion for logical reasons. And I love the fact that you study the human psychology, because the more emotions are poured into the larger or more significant or impactful purchases. And most people's most impactful or largest purchase of their life would be their real estate,
100%.
especially the residential real estate. And so, looking at those two aspects, I love the saying that I learned in real estate was, to people don't want to be sold real estate. They want to go shopping with a friend.
Yeah.
And so a friend is both credible
Mm-hmm.
and they are emotionally aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And so that marketing and the sales process both have to be credible and emotionally aligned. And then the other side of it, which I find in all businesses that people ignore, is the math. I think too many people get either tied up into overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, or cheating, losing credibility, or they're strictly utilizing that emotional nature to oversell, back-end sell, manipulate, because emotionally they get people excited, but they don't give enough confidence into the math. How long did it take you, and how important is the math in your online course at the Listings Lab to be able to articulate and quantify? Because a lot of times real estate's a no-brainer. It's just like solar.
As
You
long
could
as it's
sell solar if you know the math. And I see
yeah.
90% of the real estate agents that I meet, they don't even know the math. They're too busy trying to oversell and back end sell and emotionally connect or market in the same way that everyone else is, that they forget to simply just talk about the math of the deal.
100%. And that's really the people who do the best with the systems and the tools and the structures that we teach are the people who actually have both sides, right? People make decisions emotionally and then they make them logically. The logical side of it is the math. It's the numbers. Do the numbers work? Is this a good investment? And I think it also ties back into the credibility, right? If the numbers work and someone can actually show you the numbers and how they work and without manipulating them in a way that is unethical, I think that, any kind of a real estate transaction can be a yes or a no purely based on the numbers.
And how long is your course? How long does it take for the Listings Lab to take effect? How long is your online course?
So we're one of the only programs in the real estate space that's lifetime access. So you never lose access to the program, but the build out of the program is self-paced. So we have people who go through it in 8 weeks. We have people who go through it in 90 days. We have people who go through it, as much as it pains me, in a year. It depends on the person, but I would say the average person is going to be 90 days, but they're going to start seeing results organically around the 60-day mark. And then we get into paid traffic.
That is awesome. And they can sign up at thelistingslab.com. Anywhere else they should reach out to you?
Just, I guess, here. Instagram's a good place to start.
At Jessie Le Nouvelle. Is that where?
Yeah, that's right. At Jess Lenovel.
You got it. Oh, at Jess, not Jesse. Sorry. Yeah, at Jess Novell. Thank you so much, Jess. You have given us great insight into what's a huge profession and opportunity for so many entrepreneurs. Thank you for all you do to empower them to make more money, help more people, and have more fun, which is definitely what I think real estate agentry is about.
All
You
about it. Yep.
appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for setting such a great example. Take care, Jess. Awesome. All right, there she is, ready to help you at thelistingslab.com. Go ahead, take her online course, Credibility, Emotional Attachment, Learning the Math to Tie the Logic to the Emotions. Pretty good. All right, we'll jump right into it. The Rastegar himself. Here we go. Ari Rastegar, at Rastegar, coming up here, rastegarproperty.com, founder of Rastegar Properties, and more real estate investment news. What's going on?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I'm very well. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. I've always enjoyed listening to you talk and always come away learning something. So this is nice.
That's all I ask. You know, three things always: do your best, learn something, and have fun. We can achieve that in everything we do. There'll be no stopping us, like there's no stopping you. First question I have: I love your logo. What's the significance of that logo for the Rastegar?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So it's actually our iteration of what's called an eternity knot or an infinity knot. So if you can look it up on Wikipedia or Google it, but it's been found in pretty much all ancient cultures. You can see the Mayans had a rendition of it all the way from Hinduism, Buddhism, just all the way across the board. I mean, you could find the Star of David inside of it if you look close. So we wanted something that in the meaning behind an eternity knot. There's a lot of definitions, but the meaning the ethos of Rastegar became relevant was it means the marriage of divine wisdom with human measurement. So it's all right angles. So if you look at building and construction and what we do in our core business, it was a way to acknowledge the knowledge from somewhere else, but also being measured and calculated and how we approach business.
And, like me, you're utilizing your primary business. I was saying the legs feed the lion in order to empower others and plant seeds under trees that we may never sit under in the context of infinity and limitlessness, which I figured that logo had to have something to do with limitlessness. I was trying to look for the end of it and
that's right.
Try to figure it out from my vantage point. But, you're looking to empower kids and writing a book with your partner as well, Paulo Ben Salmi, a great podcaster himself as well, about some of my favorite tools. And I call them tools. Other people call them values or pillars. But gratitude and forgiveness and accountability, inspiration, mindfulness, empowering our kids to have a different perspective to clear the interference that's so prevalent today between them and what they already are connected to and through. What was the inspiration for you, as a typical real estate investment guy who makes money and works in the context of the pragmatic world, that there's something bigger for you to do, like empower our next generation with mindfulness?
I appreciate that. Look, it's always, for me, I've always known my why, from a very, very early age, and I kind of knew my what, but I realized that the how was none of my business, and so
that's very Bob Proctor, by the way. Don't worry about the how.
Don't worry about it. How's none of your business, he'd say. He's great. I've done a lot of this with my children. So I'm the father of three beautiful children, and I've had my own life coach for almost 12 years. I've been really into Tony Robbins, going to those conferences, and goal setting and doing incantations and affirmations, goal setting. I'm a student of Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill. My dad gave me the book when I was 13 years old, and I was an English major in undergrad. So for me, reading and having great mentors and books is really in my DNA. And Paulo, I had a lot of respect for his persistence. So he reached out to me in probably every modality that you possibly could have, and I was inspired by him. I thought that was really great. And my book comes out, although I did my best to keep it as simple as I could. It's called The Gift of Failure. It comes out in at the end of June or the early July, and I got to talking to Paolo and looking at some of the stuff that he does and thinking about my children that are 1, 5, and 8, and talking about health and wellness, which we take very seriously. And this was a great way to be able to speak to a different audience in a language that they understand. And he's obviously been very accomplished in his own right. And once we got to talking and speaking with his mother Sabrina and his siblings, they're just wonderful people, and he has that ambition to give back, and that's always been, at my core. I've never been a money worshiper per se. It never was about just making money. It was about, enhancing community and building beautiful things and sketching out things and looking how, technology and pop culture and real estate are going to intersect, and about, honoring the past while we build the future. So that's very much, who we are. So this wasn't a big deviation away from any of that. It was just a vertical that, that was organic, that came out. And I always, always loved persistence. And I like that he, really reached out in the ways that he did and put himself out there, and have a lot of respect for that. So it'll be a very, very fun project. And I think a lot of kids will really take a lot of enjoyment, and we'll get some jewels out of it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate anyone that enjoys that consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of their own potential. It's interesting. I'm in the book Think and Grow Rich Legacy, the movie Think and Grow Rich Legacy. Think and Grow Rich is something I read every day, was given to me at a young age as well, not knowing how powerful it was. I always say, I was given so many things in the 11th grade that I had no idea had so many layers to it. Like the 2 words, I am, right? I was studying Kierkegaard. I was an English major and poli-sci major in college as well. And, those 2 words, I am, I distinctively remember, just like the first time I was approached with a solution selling, it just made no sense to me other than I already know this, right? When I read Think and Grow Rich, I'm like, yeah, I get it. When I was presented with Kierkegaard and, existentialism and I am, I'm like, yeah, of course I am. And then, moving on even to solution selling, as a top salesperson out of law school, I'm like, yeah, I get it. This is what I do, right? And then here I am, 53 years old, spending hours a day still studying, paying attention and giving intention to 2 words, I am, and creating coincidences in my life that'll far reach beyond me, as Dennis Waitley says, planting seeds under trees that I may never sit under. But through those seeds that were planted in the 11th grade that have now flourished in my life, your book and my book as well are based off of, I went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation on the first book that I wrote to ask them to help me write a book with that blend of persistence, as you were mentioning, Ari and Paulo have, that you guys have, but there's a blend of faith in persistence. And I thought we'd finish up by, I call it my grand GPS faith. How has faith intertwined itself into the pragmatic world for you? And how do you not only transcend that to your children, I have 4, you have 3, but to the future generation, how we can blend faith with persistence?
Well, look, that's, faith is at the epicenter of all of it. If you look at some of the most, some of the wealthiest people that have walked this planet, if we're talking about that, like John D. Rockefeller as an example, is a very pious man. He's very, very pious, man full of faith, and he believed that, it was deeply believed it was his mission on earth to, to do the things that he did and things that he accomplished. And we find that as an ongoing motif, and in people that find great success and having faith, or as Dr. King talks about, of seeing, taking that step before you see the staircase. So in order to envision something different in life, good or bad, you have to have a deep-seated belief or faith, or whatever word that you want to use, that you can do that. And if you mix that with an elevated emotion, such as persistence or faith or contribution or love or any of these other these things, you start to find magic. You start to see things appear before you, because without faith, that it's possible, I don't think any of that's possible. I think you have to have that faith, and faith, oftentimes I think is mixed, incorrectly with religion or with some sort of, esoteric piece, which it no doubt is, um, but it's not. It's, having faith or belief in something else. Could be belief in anything. It could be belief in this, piece of paper. It could be belief in God or nature or any of those instances. But I think you nailed it in saying that they have to be combined. You have to know where you're going. You have to have a concrete goal, but at the same time be goalless. You have to have the process. You have to have a craft. And if you don't find a level of fun, as you mentioned in one of your pillars, um, and mix that fun and that faith with the process of knowing where you're going, first of all, you're not going to get there. But even if you did get there, how would you know you got there? How would you even know? If you didn't have it. So.
Yeah, no, faith is so interesting because it is the common thread between nothingness and possibility, because it takes faith, believe it or not, to be curious and creative. And then to take that possibility and be inspired to become a probability, it takes faith to have inspiration,
Yeah, that's the
obviously.
crossover. That's the nexus. That's your glue.
Right.
You have to believe that that it's there. And I think the first real faith that we should focus on is that responsibility that we have in ourselves, faith in ourselves, that something inside of us is there, that our thoughts are meaningful, that our aspirations or our dreams, although they are ours in some regard, I believe there's a lot that isn't. And so you taking that belief and knowing that's what's inside of you is holy or sacred or whatever that word is, and taking massive action towards achieving um, what that thought is or what that piece of contribution is. Because for me, there has to be contribution always. Like in whatever business that's going to be sustainable. As you well know, we built a pretty large business, and I started it with a $3,000 loan when I was in law school. And I believed that we could do something that would really help people across the board. I truly believe that, and I hope every day that we continue to do that. But that's as long as you have contribution mixed into it. I think that's kind of that that catalyst or that little sprinkle that or that pixie dust that makes it all kind of happen. And when you take you out of it and you say, no, I'm going to build this product that's going to help people, like it's going to make their lives easier, or build this home, build this house that could become a home for somebody, or whatever it is.
Yeah, you should have got a $6,000 loan instead of a $3,000 loan, like Tillman Fertitta, who wrote my forward. You would have had 3 times as much money if you would have taken more money up front. So anyway, man, Rastegar, you, Ari, you're incredible. Thank you so much. Late June, early July, the book's coming out. What's the title of the book again?
It's called The Gift of Failure.
The gift of failure. Remember, failure is just an indicator, a turn signal to put ourselves in a better place, a better position, or make our situation better. And you're a steward for that. You cannot find inside of you. I mean, you cannot find outside of you what you can't find inside, is one of the messages that I learned. Thank you for sharing an instant between limitlessness and infinity. Rastegar, Ari, thank you so much. I can find you at Rastegar, rastegarproperty.com. Anywhere else you want people to reach out to you?
No, I think that's great. I think that's if they're kind of like Paulo, if an 11-year-old boy in the UK can find me, I'm pretty sure everybody else who's listening can find me pretty easily.
Nice and easy, man. Well, I look forward to doing more with you. Thank you so much for joining me. We share a kindred spirit and a kindred perspective. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Right on. Cool. The great Ari Rastegar, he gets it. It's amazing how many people are impacted by Think and Grow Rich, which is where my 5 daily practices come by. Then know your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. Email me if you want those, or my book. I'll ship it to you, send it to you. It's inspired by Think and Grow Rich. David@dmeltzer.com. Go ahead, get my 5 daily practices and my book, ebook, audiobook. I'll sign it, send it, pay for shipping, not a problem. Great guest today. You're right. Let's take one question, and then we'll be on with more good news Wednesday. It's always more good news. No more hump day. It's more good news. Any books on being profitable? Yeah, Winning, uh, the book Winning by Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's boy. So check out the book Winning. You'll love it. It'll make you profitable. That's the unforgiving nature of winning and being great. Amazing chats today, everyone. Remember, if you want my book, it's simply david@dmeltzer.com. I have 5 daily practices for you to live by, knowing your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. All you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com. You want to join my text community, it's 949-298-2905. It's More Good News Wednesday. That's all we got for you is more good news here on Wednesday. What a great way to spend your day. Remember, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thanks so much.